guys, this is Jenny, and I'm going to do a little bit of a departure from my normal scrapbook layouts and do a cover for a mini album as part of the guest design team that I am a part of at my creative scrapbook blog for the month of March. And the scrapbook kit that I got from them is the March main kit, but it also included several some ribbon and these Prima flowers, and so I thought it might be fun to do a little bit of a more of a mixed media kind of thing. Not really much of one, but I bought actually I got it for Christmas and I haven't pulled it out yet, but this is part of it. It's just a piece of chipboard. I believe it's 8 by 8. Yep, and it's part of the cinch tool kit that my husband got for me for Christmas, which I have not used yet. And so I thought I might go ahead and do this as part of this video, and then I might put the rest of the album together in another video. So I thought I would use that piece of chipboard and just do the cover for it today. And my plan is just to simply cover it with some this text paper or something else pretty neutral, and then to make kind of a cluster of embellishments using these flowers and some of the ribbons, and kind of take a cue off of these feathers that are part of the stickers. The main kit is the new Simple Stories I Am collection, which has gorgeous colors and so much stuff to inspire you from. So I thought I would use these feathers from this sort of dream catcher and maybe cut out some other feathers. There's some feathers on you can see this is a piece that I cut apart. I thought I might cut those apart and make some sort of a cluster using that with the flowers. I also have these. They're the DIY burlap stickers, and so I thought about using maybe the butterfly or the flowers for part of that. And as sort of the title or the middle, I thought I'd use that Stay Gold because I had planned to use some gold metallic paint, this is Martha Stewart, on the tips of those flowers. So that's kind of the idea. And also this is another piece of that paper which I haven't used yet. I planned on using it on a different layout and I couldn't do it because I didn't want to cover it up. But it's another piece of the Simple Stories. So I may use that somehow, and then I'm definitely going to use another piece of this gorgeous vellum gold polka dot. So I'm going to clean up and get ready to start and just kind of see where it goes. Okay, I honestly don't think I'm going to be able to talk through all of this. It's not a very long video, but it just ended up being very tedious to sort of fiddle through a lot of it. I think in total it was probably about an hour I spent on this, and then I sped it up to about 6 times or 7 times the actual speed. So it sort of ends up being about 12 minutes long, and that includes my beginning where it was real time. So at any rate, it does become a bit repetitive with just me trying to figure out what to do, because you'll see I had a hard time struggling with this sort of flower cluster. I started off trying to think about letting things dry and doing things in stages. So I decided to go ahead and paint the edges of these Prima flowers with this gold paint from Martha Stewart, and I kind of bent back the flowers a bit so I wouldn't get the rest of the paint onto the other parts of the petals, and just sort of, you know, slapped it on there and decided to let those dry while I moved on to the rest of the project. And that honestly took quite a while. I don't really mind because this is the kind of stuff I love, and I listen to music or watch movies on the computer while I'm doing stuff like this, so I thought it was okay. But at any rate, that did take a little while, and while I let that dry, I tried to make some decisions about what I wanted to do. Obviously, I knew I wanted to cover that piece of chipboard that I had with this neutral paper. So you see that's the piece of chipboard, and I'm just cutting off the back of that piece of paper. I sanded the edges a bit because it was a little bit, not necessarily to give it a distressed look, but just to kind of even it out so you wouldn't get too many paper cuts or anything like that. If you I thought about Mod Podging it, but I really didn't want to go with that, so
This is just what I went for. I wanted to highlight some of those words that I thought were great in that text paper and make it kind of tie in with some of the colors from the little cluster. So I just used some gelatos that were like a turquoise and sort of the iridescent peach, and highlighted those and just put some water over it. And then this is me cutting out the piece of the one of the cut apart papers from the Simple Stories collection, and it has these 3 feathers that are bigger than the other ones. There's a sort of gold polka dot, a gold and kind of mint stripe, and then a sort of peachy colored stripe. And that's really where I took those colors from, or those 3 feathers. Originally I'd kind of decided I wanted to do sort of a flower cluster, but kind of base it on the sort of the image of the dream catcher and the way the feathers and things hung from the bottom of this sort of weaving. Well, I mean, that sort of evolved into more of just the leaves and the you know, pieces coming out from the center of the flower, which the feathers sort of ending up being part of the leaves, but you'll see how that comes along. I love the color of the background piece of this cardboard that the Prima Flowers came on, the packaging, and I am all about using as much of things like that if I like them. And I actually used the majority of that packaging in different little, I either drew out feathers or ended up cutting some sort of leaves out of it. My original plan was to have sort of 3 flowers centered across the front of it, and I decided to cut down 2 of them, the outer petals, to make them smaller and have the one in the middle be the larger flower. And that was fine. I mean, that all worked fine. But once I did that, I just I felt like it was too busy. I couldn't make a decision. One of the things I really wanted to do was to use this polka dot, this gold polka dot vellum, which is gorgeous, as a background for those. So I decided to cut it. If the chipboard was square, it was 8 by 8. I wanted to cut the vellum 4 by 4. Well, that didn't really fit the flowers, so I kind of ignored that for the minute and went about cutting the ribbon that was included in the kit for part of these sort of, you know, ribbon banners that tied in with the feathers and kind of made these sort of banners that came down from the flowers. So I cut lots of those, and I didn't want it to be too cluttered, but at the same time I really liked that. The one thing I couldn't do was to use this black and white ribbon, the polka dotted ribbon that was in there. It was too much of a contrast, and it really was a little bit distracting. So after looking at that for a while, I decided to use some of these stickers that are part of the sticker set, and they were feathers too. So I just cut them out of the sticker sheet but left them on the sticky part so I could kind of move them around until I made a decision, which is smart because that decision making took a really long time to do. I'm still trying to decide what to do with this background. I thought about layering them. I made that little piece a bit wider. I really wanted to use that Stay Gold sticker from Heidi Swapp because of what I thought I might make this a cover for. So I couldn't really, I just really couldn't reconcile with how this was going to turn out, and I really just fussed and fussed and fussed with it until I had to leave. I just got up and walked away. You know, my daughter came in and said she loved the way it looked and she loved the colors, and I could not make myself get happy with where it was. So my best scenario in that case is to get up and leave and come back later. So that is what I did here. So I came back here and had swept everything away and decided to take on a different perspective. So I decided to go with one center piece that focused everything together and didn't try to split it up between these, you know, 3 sort of flowers. And I also started to realize if I do use this with the cinch machine that will put the binding ring on the left side, then it's going to offset that center piece, and I didn't want it to, even though it looks like it's going to be off center in the final product, I didn't want it to be cut into as part of the binding, if that makes sense. So I remembered at this point that I had to shift it over. Unfortunately, I did forget a few other things, but At this point, I did start to kind of realize, okay, I might enjoy this. It might turn out the way I liked it. So I kind of just layered all of these little pieces of this sort of organza ribbon and this like coral grosgrain, and I still didn't use the black and white polka dot. And then those feathers that were part of the pieces I cut out, the stickers, and the part of the packaging. And I just used my glue gun and layered them all together on top of the page. And started to get really, feel really good about the way it was going. The pieces that were darker I kind of layered under that organza or layered under some of the other pieces. And then I remembered at some point, I think I had actually glued the flower onto the top of it and remembered that I had wanted to put all of this onto a piece of that gold polka dot vellum. So I had a total oh no moment where I really got it on there, and I sat back and looked at it and was like, oh my god, that's it. And I decided I somehow pulled it up without making too much of a mess, and cut that piece just a little bit smaller than the 8x8 and just a random width to try to, but I shifted it over to the right side because of that binding, and tacked it down and then re-glued the entire cluster back onto that vellum after all of that. So I was pretty pleased that after everything that sort of worked out. I did put a couple pieces of hot glue kind of underneath it to pop it up a bit, and I used a couple pop dots underneath some of those feathers or the little leaves, and then put that gold sticker from Heidi Swap at the top. I fluffed up the leaves and the feathers, or the petals, a bit to kind of make them look all right. I really wanted to add one of these other stickers, but I just couldn't, I just didn't want to junk it up any more than it already was, so I decided to leave it alone. So this is the final page the way it looked, and you can see the close-ups here and the final product at the end. Thanks so much for stopping by. Make sure that you check out the My Creative Scrapbook website and all of the amazing teamwork and the guest designs and all of the things that they have going on there. They have a great blog hop and great challenges, and thanks so much for watching.